The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show would like to acknowledge the traditional land owners and the leaders past, present and emerging of Ngunnawal, Ngambri and Darawal countries where we are working from today. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
If we just put a British accent, someone just narrating how to get your medicines prescribed.
Aussie?
Oh no, I just gave it away. Jeez, it's me. I was the guy that won the Astro League. I forgot about
shit, were you?
but
NFL?
He was just silent, no camera on. I'm just sitting there, I'm like eating my finger bun pre-draft.
Fantasy.
and they were having breakfast together, sitting there having big breakfasts, having a bit of bacon and egg, bit of sausage.
Sharing a
So
bagel. Very good.
we all know what that means. So basically, lock MPJ in for a top 1 season this year.
Top one.
Taylor the tradesman. No reason to have a trade segment on the podcast.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Yeah, there we go. There we go, mate.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Oh, that looks even bigger, man.
That didn't do anything for me.
Oh, it did stuff for us. Yeah.
It did shit for us. It's good enough.
In today's busy world, it's hard to have it all. Who has time to do all the analysis and decision making for your fantasy team? Probably not you, but we can help. Whether it's positively diagnosing players with fantasy leprosy, or helping you find the players who are on the verge of being fantasy legendary. There's only one name in all of fantasy you can really trust. Make an appointment with Dr GoodCall.
Wait, was Malik always in the segment?
Always.
Okay. Why did I only know?
Always.
Oh, Lamar was in Public Defender. He wasn't in this one. Yeah, my bad.
Oh, that's right.
Forgot the drops. Yeah.
And by Malik, not Malik, but yeah, I'll go with it. Whatever.
Oh, is it Vince Young? Is it actually Vince Young?
No.
No.
Taylor, do you know who it is?
It's going Mariota then.
Wait, I can't even think of what you're talking about. Sorry, I was looking at my notes. Wait, you're talking about a Titans player?
Yeah. Let me share the screen. Do you know who that is?
That's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
So Manjot's had 3 goes. He's had Malik. He had Vince Young.
And then Marcus Mariota, and I was like, no, it can't be Marcus Mariota because.
But like, I just could like that's one of those things that's in that video that I haven't really 100% noticed. I think I've like in passing remembered that Adrian Peterson's in it, but when it got to the end, then you're asking me, I'm like, I don't even fucking remember it being in there. Like, it just started
I thought you quickly got Malik in the preseason image from him. Oh my god!
No, that was just taking a shot at the Titans for signing the ghost of Adrian Peterson.
And then he actually got injured a lot.
They were trying to piece together Henry any way they fucking could. And
you're big and fat and can run straight, probably.
That's pretty much all they did. They just threw 3 different guys at it, and one of them was actually impressive.
Yeah. I mean, the one who wasn't averaging like 0.7 yards per rush was the one they stuck with, and I think that was wise.
And I don't like to foreskin, as we know, but that person might come up later.
Ooh. All right. Well, this segment took a hard left turn last week, but again, we said this on the first show of the week, and I'm going to reiterate this now. Just big applause to Marky Mark, because we dialed him up like 20 minutes before the show was going to go to air and said, so we need you to be Taylor. And he goes, absolutely cannot do it. Well, could you just come along anyway? And he goes, absolutely can do it. And he was a real trooper to fill in, and did it with such grace and really worked hard to prepare stuff for the show. But we thought it was a bridge too far to get him to be the doctor. So I took the bullet and gave it a go. And I'm really, really, really interested to hear what the doctor himself thought of work experience guy here covering for him just real quick last week.
Yeah, the hospital didn't tell me who the intern was. And,
no.
I was...
wisely.
Yeah, thank you. I probably would have stormed back in if I'd found out it was you. But look, honestly, when I heard it on the podcast, I was actually pretty happy with you. They were pretty decent calls, and you definitely got unlucky with your wide receiver. I think they were actually decent calls. Like, there were ones that I probably would have had a look at too. So, look, as an intern coming to step in for Dr. GoodCall, I'll definitely give you a pass mark, mate.
Mate, this is a lot like when, let's say, your plastic surgeon can't do the surgery and they're just looking around the room going, so how about you? You do it. That's pretty much what happened.
The guy that's doing the garbage in the corner, just to point at him.
Yeah, the guy's job is to push the gurney into the room. They're like, well, we don't have a surgeon, so you can do it.
By the way, you're scrubbing in for this one.
So I'll do a quick recap on it. I took Daniel Jones as the quarterback because he was going to be up against the horrible Texans, and I really thought he was going to rush for more yards than he did. Even without rushing much, he still scored you practically 20 points, 18.2. I was saying he should get you 20 as a minimum. So I kind of missed on that, but I don't think he killed you if you started him. Of course, Jeff Wilson Jr. was home run. That guy's seemingly just taken that job over.
Yeah, he outscored Derrick Henry as a better flex this week for me in content team.
Fuck you, such a troll.
I put Henry in the flex. Yeah. I put Henry as my second flex.
Henry is the second flex. Yeah.
I picked him up off waivers in Sizzle and Quinny's league and played him last week too, and I have Henry in that league too. So I had the exact same situation where I had Henry and Wilson smashed him.
But he was great, so better than advertised. So I'm really patting myself on the back for that, and I don't know that he'll be available in enough leagues for people to try that caper.
Oh yeah, I had Daniel Jones, didn't I, as well? Yeah, in that league too. So I had all
You love the intern.
Yeah, it's all about the intern. Turns out, because we co-manage one team now, that bleeds into every team.
Yeah, I think our team's a bit of... Oh, man, Ian was accusing us of collusion out there, man. Come on, man.
I was in the hospital next to my son there when I read that. I knew you guys were on the podcast at the time too, and I was laughing. I'm like, not once do I feel like that's collusion. Like, especially because, like, it's not like you picked up like Patty Mahomes or something.
No.
You're getting Danny Dimes. Like,
Danny Dimes.
That's fine.
And I was getting a third tight end. Tight end.
Yeah, you're getting my scraps of scraps here, Manny.
And we all know I've got a big Woody for Dawson Knox, so should come as no surprise.
Yeah, that's why I said in my nickname, I was like, Maddie, trade for him.
Yes. And then the prophecy came around, It only took to week 10.
Yeah, and the trade deadline in that league hitting up this week. So anyone who's listening on.
Oh, shoot. Same as the Astro League. I need to advertise that. I don't think everyone knows. Thank you for that.
I know. That's why I jumped in and traded with Jackal today.
So, wait.
Did you accept our trade?
I did not. I rejected that within.
He rejected it.
Yeah, I saw what you'd offered us finally today, 3 days after you offered it. I'm like,
he hated it.
Get out of here, Matumbo.
He was like, no way, man.
No, not today. Yeah. It was a bullshit trade. Anyway, sorry. Jerry Jeudy, very unlucky. He got hurt on the first play of the game, offensive snap, and he's done a high ankle, so he's going to be done for a while. They don't know how significant of a high ankle though. It's a sprain of some sort. They just don't know whether it will be one of these shorter ones or whether it'll be much longer. I haven't been able to get anything definitive on that, but bad luck. I started him fucking everywhere, and I wore zeros in about 7 leagues. I went 4-8 last week, and I'm lucky to have got that. And then Noah Fant, who 6 points is not what you're looking for. So I'm going to mark myself as a big fail for Fant, an unlucky fail for Jeudy. Not really a pass for Daniel Jones, but I'm going to give myself ticks for Wilson. And now I'm going to hand it back to the real fucking doctor, because what the fuck was I ever doing that for? Like, Jesus, you poor bastards.
Man.
Well, to be honest, mate, it was nice listening to someone else going through the ringer and trying to find some good starts for some people. But again, I do like this job, though. I did study at medical school for a long time to get this degree. So, look,
double degree, mate. 8 years took you ages.
And look, my first pick here is Danny Dice. Pick up the intern here at quarterback, and he's up against Detroit, who happened to be last against quarterbacks. So an even better matchup for him here. So I just thought he stuck out. I still think people don't 100% trust him. So I definitely think he's a guy that people are a little bit iffy about on a week-to-week basis. But like you mentioned in your intern, Dr. intern call. I don't even know what the hell we're calling it, but it was definitely something you mentioned that he's normally running, and he didn't quite do it last week, but probably because he could just hand off to Saquon 60 times, and you knew he was going to get 4 or 5 yards every single. Well, the problem is that could happen against Detroit as well, but Detroit are horrendous against the quarterback, whereas Houston are actually not bad. So I think he has a better game this week.
I mean, Saquon had 35 carries in that game. Whoa!
But
Houston is so bad.
Yeah.
Houston is so bad against the run.
Yeah, isn't Detroit as bad against the run as them?
Not as bad. Like, I talk shit and I often target them, but they're so
we
bad.
We joke about it.
Like, Houston are actually not bad at defending the other parts. I know. To be fair, a lot of the times the second halves probably dictate that, but in general, they do a lot better job on the quarterbacks and the wide receivers than they do the running back. They just funnel everything through it. So, and whereas Detroit can be beaten everywhere, so sometimes teams actually decide to throw it as well. So that's the only difference I see here.
Oh yeah, this year's Texans are last year's Browns and Chargers. You do not need to pass a heap. You just run through the middle because they can't stop shit.
And the teams
toddler would get 100 yards against them.
Yeah, I mean Detroit's 11th against is the 11th worst against running backs as well.
Yeah, and that's almost mid pack, right?
Yeah,
it's almost mid pack.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dimes, I love that call. Of course I do.
Yeah.
It's self-congratulatory.
I went a bit deeper here at running back. I wanted to try and find a bit of a diamond in the rough here. So I'm going to take Isaiah Pacheco from the Chiefs up against the Chargers, who are 30th against running back. This is really what do you play at a funeral? Just some sort of sad tune, probably lights will guide you home. That's for CEH because he's had his fantasy death. He is completely.
What the fuck happened there?
He had 4 snaps. So if you're thinking, you've taken a guy on a 3-person timeshare, it is no timeshare between 3 people. There's 2 people right now. And basically McKinnon is the 3rd down guy, and Pacheco gets everything in the 1st and 2nd down, which I honestly is enough for me. I know, to be fair, in the Chiefs, you do want some passing, but I think this offense is good enough. There's going to be enough opportunities for Pacheco moving forward, and I think they just see a lot more from him than they do CEH, and he's a better in between the tackles runner. He gets more yards per carry. They trust him more. I just think there's a good opportunity against this Chargers defense. Even though they are slightly better against the run than last year, which isn't hard, they are still 30th. So they are getting pounded by the running back position most weeks. So I think there's a good opportunity for Pacheco here. The good thing for him too is when the Chiefs lead in games, they use him even more. But he seems to be the guy they like to run in the second halves when they're up by a bit. So I don't know. The game script would have to be terrible for him not to be involved in this game.
Yeah, and what's the Chargers the last couple of weeks? They're not good with Allen and Williams out, so they're out again.
They are decimated.
Yeah, they're done. I don't think they'll have a chance against the Chiefs, to be fair. If Herbert's all alone with Eckler, then they have no chance against the Chiefs. They've got to have at least one of Allen or Williams out there, and they're not out there. Then Pacheco can easily run out the clock in the second half. This could be an absolute blowout by the Chiefs, to be honest.
And I just think that bodes well for Pacheco. I've often seen in games when they've been destroying teams, they've just gone with the rookie. They've ran him a lot in the 4th quarter. So I don't even think they wouldn't even bother passing on 3rd downs to McKinnon. I think they just run the ball out. So I think this could be a very good game script for Pacheco.
And so this is something that I was not expecting to happen, but I did take McKinnon in my starts of the week last week, kind of boldly, and it kind of worked out too because he scored some points. I've been waiting all week for it to come out that, Talor had a tummy bug in the morning or something like that, and they dressed him just so they didn't have to bring somebody up. But yeah, it just never came. There was never an explanation. I still don't understand it. And if this weekend things just changed all over again and the CH ends up with 15 touches again, actually wouldn't be surprised. So
wouldn't he?
I don't know what you got to do in this backfield, but fuck, you might as well have a go at this. You can't get Pacheco in any league anymore, and it's worth a bet. If I needed to win this week, fuck it, I'd give it a go too.
Yep. that's the thing. Taking my shot. That's what Dr GoodCall does. Trying to prescribe some fantasy goodness, and I just think there's an opportunity there to get a guy 100% off waivers this week.
Yeah,
Can't
you
imagine
could do
he's
worse.
be owned a lot out there. So I think there's a good opportunity.
Are you going to start
get in
this
front of
guy,
this.
or are you going to start Gainwell? Are you going to start this guy, or
Yeah.
whatever else bullshit? That back for the Falcons, Algier. Are you going to start him over Pacheco? I prefer Pacheco to all of those guys, 100%.
Exactly.
Especially if my life is online and lose this week and I'm gone. Yeah, I'd rather die on that horse.
All right. I've gone deep again here at wide receiver, fellas. Ooh. And I'm stacking that bitch up with wide receiver 67 from the G-Man. And you give me Darius Slayton up against Detroit, who are 26 against wide receiver.
Yeah.
We love this call.
He's looking at NBA Jam rules that I've brought up a few times. He's had two very, very good games in a row, and it's almost a boom shakalaka.
He's on fire. Yeah, we're definitely from the same generation.
He's playing really well, and just generally, I've always felt like Danny Dom's got a bit of a hard on for him, and there's just no other receivers that are sort of staking their claim to be better than him. Like everyone obviously thought Kadarius Toney was going to be the guy. Now he's moved on to the Chiefs and probably will be the guy, and it's just left everything. You know, you've seen Wan'Dale Robinson. They've talked up the rookie, and he just kind of hasn't really got it done for him. No. And it's obviously like I've sounded the bloody funeral for. CH, God knows what we do for Kenny Golladay. Man, he's 100 feet under the bloody turf right now.
007.
I forgot he existed. That's a Taylor Swift song.
007, 0 catches, 0 yards, 7 drops. 007.
Yeah. 7 hands like feet, basically.
Not going well.
So, like I said, there isn't too much to talk about. He's just had 2 really, really good games in a row, and he's always a deep threat for them as well. And against this Detroit team, I think he could really exploit it. He had 90-odd yards last week and a TD. So, I just think the opportunities are there for Slayton. He doesn't need a huge target share. It'd be awesome if you could get it, but even without it, he's the kind of guy that could really rack up the yards on only 3 or 4 catches. So, I think there's an opportunity here for Slayton.
I think so too. He's always been that breakaway guy, hasn't he?
Yep.
That's been his racket. He's not he'll get you 8 yards with a little dink across the middle. No, he's have a shot.
Yep. And I think they could easily do that against Detroit here.
Yeah, he only needs 1 play. He had 3 of them last week. They didn't all go for touchdowns, but didn't need to. Yeah. No, I love it. Marky Mark had a really great year with Darius Slayton, just throw it in there. It might have been the year he ran away with it, or the year he was trying to defend it, one of those two. But I mean, the problem with a guy like that is he could score you 3. Could score you 23. Fuck.
And look, that's
what you're looking for. Give me the 23. Yeah. And I'd rather eat the 3 knowing that I could have got 23 than picking up, I don't know, someone like Josh Palmer. Well, he's not going to, there's no ceiling like that for him,
All right, tight end, boys. Before I say who it is, remember when a couple of people on here, I won't name any names, were giving me hell for a young man named Cole Kmet. Well, now he's tight end 7 on the season.
Yeah.
Never wrong, fellas. Just early. That's what I tell my wife. Cole, man.
I hate his name.
Looking at Coco Cabana right now. Anyway, look, that's enough of that. It's not even Cole Kmet. It's Foster Moreau of the Las Vegas Raiders. I just had to put the whole Cole Kmet thing in there. I'm taking a shot on Moreau up against Denver. They're 17th against tight end, so it's not so much about matchup. It's about the vacated time. Waller's not there, and I know Waller's not really been there much this season, but I think the fact that he's been put on IR has made them go, all right, we know Waller is out every single week, so we know we have to game plan for Moreau. And I just think he gets a lot of targets when Waller's not there. They're obviously an offense that's built around throwing to the tight end position, and they've obviously had to piece it together when Waller keeps like almost playing and then pulling out. And now that he's actually out, he looked pretty decent last week, got a touchdown. Yeah. And I could see that continuing for the rest of the year, especially while Waller's obviously on the IR. So I think there's an opportunity for Moreau, and I think he could do a lot.
Coming back. They're 2-7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is he coming back?
And Denver's really tough to beat in a lot of areas. Like I think this could be a tough game for Jacobs because you just saw them just basically shut down Derrick Henry. So the running game's probably not going to be great for him. They're very, very good against wide receiver. I think they're either first or second against wide receiver.
But it's the slot and the tight end that kill him. Like
it might be tough. So it's those intermediate routes, the real short ones that Derek Carr's probably going to have to take. So I think that's where Moreau could actually feast.
Yeah, I mean, so this slot is Akina. He gets 2 touchdowns and a bunch of yards. Evan Engram gets the first touchdown in that game in London against them a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, that's where they're soft.
Yep, absolutely.
Softer without Chubb as well. I mean, they trade Chubb away to the Dolphins, and they're even thinner there. So, yeah. I mean, look, you could do worse than die on a hill with Foster Moreau. It's
absolutely
sounds like a character out of a 1950s novel, though, doesn't he?
Foster Moreau's on the case.
Yeah, like he's a detective, or like I don't know, he's a character from a Tintin story or something. I don't know. He said,
like he's in Noddy or something.
or like he's Archie's mate from those comic strips or something. Like I don't know. He sounds invented.
Wouldn't surprise me. All right. Well, before I go to my fantasy aids, mate, do you want to take you through the intern's shot at
do you remember my age shot?
Player?
Because clearly there was a vaccine.
It was there wasn't for a while in that game, but the guy you take, I've also mentioned a few times that he, for some reason, only needs one play. And then I was joking with someone else later that game because they're like, how the hell did he drop that pass like a yard out? And I said, it's Dalvin Cook, mate. He only does one play a game. He's not. He hit his quota. He's not allowed to go do something else good.
100%. Now he's just draining the clock, right?
Yes.
I felt so clever for so much of that game. Like, Dalvin who? And then I was very soon crying in a pillow.
Now you know how hard it felt for Dr. GoodCall all those weeks when it felt like you were killing it and one play just destroys you.
Yeah. All those running backs where it was just like fucking Miles Sanders with the 1 yard touchdown. Fucking Damian Pierce with the junkiest junk time touchdown in the history of junk time. Like,
Damian Pierce is destroying every other team as well, which is killing me. And that one game I said he was going to be shit. He was 15 for 35. And
you had touchdown. It nailed. And then he gets a passing touch in the end too. So it's not even just like he just dives over from yard and gets just 6.1. No, he also gets the reception. Arsehole.
But as I sort of foreskin there, he obviously took Dalvin Cook. I really liked the call when you said it because we even brought him up, or you brought him up as a sell high candidate because of the run of games he had coming up. And then I said to you, I completely agree with you, but he's the kind of guy that for some reason just breaks out one big play. And it seems to be happening a lot for him. I even brought up a few weeks ago when they played Miami. He was sitting on something like 8 for 16 yards or something. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he just had like a 60-yard touchdown and you were like, oh, my week's saved. It's exactly what he did again in this game. He did absolutely nothing outside of that 80
and you go, bring in Madison, bring in Madison.
Yeah. Or bring in Ham. Apparently.
Yeah, CJ Ham. I reckon people are still starting me in ACT Gridiron fantasy leagues more than CJ Ham's getting started in NFL fantasy leagues. I reckon that's, and I've been retired 12 years. So the CJ Ham touchdown clearly absolutely helped nobody.
And was it Ingold for Miami that did a whole bunch as well?
He had a receiving touchdown. Alec Ingold, the former Raiders fullback.
I remember when I started Xander Horvath in a league because I forgot to bench
against
running
me
backs one week.
It was against me in a dynasty, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a deep league, so I had to find a running back in that Chargers game. Obviously, Eckler and Jackson. Oh, not Jackson.
It might have been the G'day Twitter league.
No, it was definitely the ESPN league, the COVID league. Yeah.
COVID. The COVID league. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too many.
But CJ Ham first touchdown in 5 years. Does that help anybody?
Oh, it's a gladiator streak.
Yeah.
5 years, 20 days. We'll get out the calculator. We'll see.
I'll find it.
Now we just need Alex. Now we just need Alex Twal to score a try, and then we'll know the whole world's going to end.
Yeah, I
Fucking
have
hell.
nothing else to do in this segment, so I'll definitely find some CJM stats.
Yeah, all right. I'm trusting you with that. Well, we find out who a proper AIDS candidate is, since
Yeah.
I suffered the curse of Talor GoodCall with my great call just going to pot in the fourth quarter.
Well, look, that's pretty much what's happened to me in the last 3 or 4 weeks anyway.
Yeah.
So you basically just followed. You must have been
Solidarity.
listening to Dr GoodCall really well as an intern. All right. So this one's interesting, and I just want to sort of make my case for why he fits in here. Because when I say his name, I don't know if straight away you're going to think that he would fit the kind of guy that I normally take. But I'm going to take Deontay Foreman up against Baltimore, who was 16th against running back. And I'm just going to sort of make my case here why he fits. And generally, it's because I think everyone's going to be starting him with the whole hot hand sort of situation he's done with his 2 out of his last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But like I've just mentioned, 2 amazing games against Atlanta has everyone starting this guy like he's a top 10 running back. And while I can't fault anyone for being excited for what they've seen so far, I think we just need to settle down a bit. For starters, he's absolutely useless in the passing game, so he's completely game script dependent. We saw them in a negative game script once, and he had 23 yards.
Yeah.
I don't expect the Panthers to lead here against the Ravens, and generally most teams have found it easier to pass on the Ravens than run anyway. This guy held the Titans together when Henry went down, so I have a lot of love for him. I just think we need to pump the brakes a bit on his fantasy value, especially this week.
No argument from me. I mean, yeah, the passing game stuff is bothersome. And I think this is where everyone just kind of expected earlier in the year that Chuba Hubbard would still be the 2. And then all of a sudden Foreman just came in and started taking it over. But yeah, you're right. The sample size is we're smashing Atlanta twice.
It's just
So,
yeah, look,
and the
and they were
Bucks ones.
Yeah,
they were kind of
I
different
trust your
games.
laboratory on this one.
Yeah, look, 2 Atlanta games, we all know about Atlanta's defense, and he just absolutely destroyed them both times. And then you saw the one game when the script was horrendous, and then he had 23 yards in it. Obviously, I don't expect that to happen either. They went 35-0 on the blink of an eye. Just Joe Mixon just destroyed them.
Yeah.
Just mixing up a bit of whoop ass on them. But
he won 3 pastries that week, man. It was no fucking joke.
Yeah, it was big. It was big.
And they weren't even made up pastries. They were legit pastries.
Yeah, those are legit.
We're about to rename the whole segment after him.
TC still lost with him. That was pretty funny.
I'm glad you're trolling him too, because we really ripped into TC.
Oh man,
we ripped into him.
But again, like I said, I think he fits this because I think everyone's going to be starting him because of what they've seen 2 of the last 3 weeks. And coming off last week, I just think they're going to think they've got this huge steal, which, to be honest, they probably have. I mean, I know Seahorse is probably happy that I traded him to him.
100%.
He's actually playing really, really well. And this isn't trying to hammer the guy. I just think we need to settle down on his expectations. I think he's going to be very matchup dependent. I think you're going to really need them in games where it's a very bad rush D, or at least the Panthers are a chance of being in front. I really don't think in Baltimore this week. I think this is a game that Baltimore could really put some points on them pretty quickly. So I just don't see it being a big Foreman game.
Yeah, that's true. But I've got a question for the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, we
So
go.
in content team, I've got Lamar, and I also got your boy Daniel Jones. So which one would I start? I'm dumb not to start Lamar, right? I'll be.
I'm not gonna lie. I noticed this. I was just looking. I sometimes like to have a look at like other people's matchups and stuff, and I noticed that you got Danny Dimes last week, and then I just assumed obviously you'd get Lamar back, and then I'm like, I don't know. It's not actually the easiest decision. I'm not. I say that because of the matchup for Danny Dimes. You can't not play Lamar, like especially in the way this league is. I know Danny Dimes runs the occasional TD and has good yards and stuff, but the chance that Lamar breaks out 3 rushing touchdowns and they're all worth 6 points in this league, and that Carolina defense really isn't great. So in the end, it's not a bad matchup for Lamar. If Lamar was playing like a really, really, really tough defense, like someone in the top 3,
he was going to New England or something.
Yeah, and you had a feeling it might be a bit of a mucky game. You could see yourself maybe doing that, but that's where you start just playing yourself. Like you picked Lamar for a reason. You're gonna play him. Like even like it'd almost be like if I picked up like a Danny Dimes and I'd play him over Jalen Hurts. Like I really shouldn't do it in really any scenario. I know you kind of almost talk yourself into it. But I think the smart thing is to just play Lamar and ride it out.
Yeah, definitely. I can't go against my boy.
Yeah,
it's worth the question though. Like as soon as you said it, I laughed because I actually had that thought in my head. But it's one of those things you think about but you don't do.
I'll pull up the cap. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Dale. Don't worry.
If you get 21 out of Lamar Jackson and something bizarre happens and Danny Dimes gets 22, are you going to kick your butt for starting Lamar over? And even if it's the other, even if you start Daniel Jones and get 22 and Lamar gets 21, are you really clapping yourself for starting Daniel Jones?
That is the thing, right? The best case scenario for when you start Danny Dimes over Lamar is he beats him by 8
He's got to
points,
smash him.
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh my God, I'm an absolute genius. But the downside of the other way is Lamar puts up 50 and Danny Dimes just hands off to Saquon all game and gets 10. Like there's too much variance in Lamar, like, and what he can do.
The ceiling is just so much
ceiling's
greater,
enormous.
And happens a little bit more regularly. That Danny might still have a game where he'll throw up 25 plus fantasy points for you twice a year. Good luck predicting when they're coming. Where any week you think, Lamar could just do it, right? Don't you always see the guy who's starting Lamar against you and just go, oh, fuck, here we go.
And Lamar could play like shit and score 20-something. Like, that's the difference because he's such a fantasy-friendly player that he could actually have a bad game of his arm and run for 85 yards and 1 TD, and you've just saved your day anyway.
100%. They could lose that game, but what do you care? Because all the NFL stuff that makes him valuable, who cares what the impact is in the NFL because he's scoring you fantasy points, and they're not the same thing. We're not an NFL podcast. We're a fantasy podcast, and we're here to give you the fantasy.
Exactly.
Points. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I think you got that from the doctor. Do you feel good about the advice, man, John?
Yeah, I felt like good. That
felt daily with water.
Yeah, just wanted to get the doctor's advice before I went ahead with it. Yeah.
Yep. And if you break out in a rash, if you break out in a rash, call 000, mate. It's fucking gonna look out.
Danny Dimes size rash.
The next show in the week is going to be based in a couple of fantasy games, and I've foreskinned a little bit in our little chat about the tenor of what to expect, but I've tried not to give anything away because I don't want you guys to get the advantage of doing any research on anything. I'm really looking forward to putting you through a little bit of a ringer. Do you reckon we should kick into it? Lap into it? Have a crack?
I'm Josh Giddy with anticipation.
Each of us have been pulled up on things, but I'm going to call out Talor because he's not fucking here to defend himself. That's how we play.
Me being excited because I just sneezed very badly. So, oh boy.
After his complete dick move on Instagram the other day, he's going to go off. He's going to go bananas.
Yeah. I'm going to go my boy Jeff Wilson Jr. I'm sorry, man.
I'd like to change the order, please.
And we're going to have to just see whether you got the time at him before the ball was snapped.
The challenge body was put in.
Yeah, I will circle jerk about that later.
And I'm going to go way down the shaft. Deep shafting, as they call it.
So I don't know why that thrills me so much.
Okay, this sounds like something a 6-year-old would say. All right.
Yeah, I want to play the sad trumpet. That's sad.